Kyle Glaser is with us from Baseball America. We welcome him to Big Board Sports. Kyle, Rodger, Wyland in Albany, good morning.
Morning. How are you doing?
Good, Kyle. Thanks for a few minutes. Let's start with our A topic, which is the Yankees. What do you think of the Yankees move and obviously Andrew Miller over the weekend going to Cleveland in return for 4 prospects?
I think the Yankees did excellent. Obviously, Andrew Miller is a bona fide stud, one of the best relievers in baseball, but you're still talking about a reliever who'll give you, 50, 60, maybe 70 innings a year. And for that, the Yankees got 4 prime prospects, but not just prospects in the sense that they're high upside, high risk guys. A lot of these guys are ready to contribute end of this year, 2017. One of the biggest deals really is getting prospects who are top prospects that are also in that AA, AAA range or above. You look at Clint Frazier. He already mastered AA, is in AAA. You look at Ben Heller, doing very, very well in AAA. J.P. Fireeisen, AA. And while Justice Sheffield's in high A, he's ready for AA. So it wasn't just getting prospects. It was getting prospects who were advanced and succeeding at the higher levels and are going to be ready to contribute, possibly in September. It's not like they got a bunch of guys who won't help until 2019, 2020.
So, and the one everybody's raving about, Kyle, is Clint Frazier, right? That he's apparently that good.
He is. Clint Frazier is probably your center fielder of the future, or you could put him in right field. He's a guy who's going to come out, be a 2020 threat every year, hitting that 280 range and be a bona fide core member of your lineup for 6, 7, 8 years to come. And Yankee fans are going to love the way the guy plays. He, gets his uniform dirty, head first slides, but it's not just like he's a try-hard guy. He's one of the most skilled players in all the minor leagues. Speed, power, hitting for contact, his arm. Everything you could want is there. The makeup is great. We had a chance to sit down with the guy during the Futures game, and he's 6'1", 190, and every bit of that is muscle. The guy is just completely jacked. He's got a great personality, big red hair. I think everything about him screams a star for years to come, and I think Yankee fans looking back in a few years will say, we loved Andrew Miller, but this trade was a good one, just alone for getting us Clint Frazier and then the other guys who I think are also going to contribute.
Kyle, Brady Farkas here. The Yankees criticism, or the criticism of the Yankees from fans a long time has been that they haven't had any help in the minors. They've gutted the farm system, and we started to get a little bit excited about Aaron Judge and Greg Bird and Severino and Mateo, but now you throw in the Cubs prospects that they got, Gleyber Torres and company, and now this crop from the Indians. How has the Yankees farm system transformed itself within the last week?
It's gone from middling to one of the best. It's really been a great rebuilding job by the powers that be, and I think Damon Oppenheimer had started that. The Yankees have been drafting a lot better recently in the last few years, so it was already kind of getting better. It wasn't that bottom tier level that it had been in years past, but now you add in, again, impact prospects who are advanced at the higher levels and are thus lower risk. You've really, really elevated the talent base you can draw from in your minor league system.
Time with Kyle Glaser, Baseball America. That is the A topic today. Trading deadline coming up at 4 o'clock. Kyle, are they done? What about Carlos Beltran? Do you expect him to be moved by 4 today?
I do. I think Beltran will be moved. I think some of it is going to be whoever ends up winning the Jay Bruce sweepstakes. The runner-up is probably going to turn their attention to Beltran. I think you're going to see a lot of action in the next 6 hours in the outfield market in general. I'd be surprised if Carlos Beltran is still a Yankee at 4 p.m. today, but, you never know. Crazier things have happened at the deadline.
Well, you mentioned Jay Bruce, and what about the New York Mets? Could that be a fit there? Where do you think Bruce ends up? And then the Mets in general, what do you think they will be active here today before 4 o'clock?
I think the Mets should be active. Will they be? It's tough to tell. We've seen with the Wilpons in years past. Sometimes they're active, willing to give up a big prospect. Other times they're not. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they brought in Cespedes last year, and that was good for them. I think the Mets are, in play for Jay Bruce. I wouldn't call him the favorite, especially if the Dodgers are really going hard after him. The Dodgers just have a much better prospect base to draw from. But I think the Mets will do something, whether it's, I don't think it'll be the Jay Bruce, Jonathan. It could be Jay Bruce, but, kind of that Jonathan Lucroy, big pitcher, Chris Sale, Chris Archer type. I don't think it's that. But I think the Mets will probably make a tweak or two here and, maybe upgrade one of the areas they need to offensively, even if it's not a marquee guy.
Kyle, I have to go back to the Yankees because you were on the conference call with Brian Cashman after this deal got made yesterday. Do you think that these two deals kind of signify a paradigm shift with the Yankees organization? Are we going to see them shift away from the massive spending in the offseason and really focus on some prospect development?
If you go back to the Yankees in the 90s, a lot of that core was homegrown from Bernie Williams and Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera, and a lot of the guys they acquired who helped them win those titles at first were not huge ticket items. They were good players they got at reasonable contracts. And then when they started getting into throwing the hundreds of millions of dollars of contracts at guys at age 32, 33 is when they started getting into trouble. So I think you could say it's a paradigm shift, but I think you could also say it's a return to what made the Yankees successful in the first place. You build from within, and then you sign the big free agent to kind of round it all out. And I think that Brian Cashman and Damon Oppenheimer have been given the freedom to do that a little bit. And I think the moves they're making are wise. And, again, it'd be one thing if they were going and getting a bunch of Class A pitchers, who, were so far away, but they're not. They're going and getting guys who can help the Yankees this year and next, while also keeping some of the guys around that have already been up there. Masahiro Tanaka's not going anywhere. Dellin Betances is not going anywhere, homegrown guy. I think they've done a really nice job of recognizing what they need to do and acquiring the guys that can help them get and do it soon rather than, 4 years down the road.
Having said all this, as we talked to Kyle Glaser, Baseball America, I don't think it was an easy sell to Hal Steinbrenner. And I do wonder, Kyle, if they win on Friday and they win on Saturday and they beat the lowly Rays a couple of games, if Steinbrenner on Sunday morning or late Saturday night still signs off on this same deal. I wonder if the outcome would have been different had they won a couple of more games over the weekend.
It's funny. Cashman actually addressed that directly, that the way things had gone, in his words, the previous 2 days absolutely played a part in it. Hal Steinbrenner signed off on the deal. He said sometime around 11 p.m., 11 p.m. on Saturday night with the 2 Rays losses, hanging heavy. And Cashman talked a lot about how the team has not performed up to expectations. He mentioned there was a lot of difficult discussions. This was not something that came together just because they lost to the Rays. It was something where they'd been talking about it and wondering if it was the right move, if it was the thing to do. And the fact that Steinbrenner gave the okay shortly after that extra loss to the Rays, and Cashman specifically cited the team's performance those previous 2 days, I think did play a role in the decision to give it the okay. At the same time, I still think this is the right move for the Yankees, whether they're 52-51 or 53-49. I don't think those 2 games make a difference of if this is the right move for the Yankees or not. This is the right move. They acquired a tremendous amount of talent for as good as Andrew Miller is, a guy, again, who's only going to give you 50, 60, 70 innings a year. I think you make this move every day of the week, regardless of your record.
Hey, one more for me. Jonathan LaCroix not going to Cleveland. He vetoed that one. But you think Milwaukee's got to do something here, right? With LaCroix, do you expect him to be moved by 4 o'clock today?
It's interesting. I don't think Milwaukee has to do something because he's signed on to an affordable contract, and I think they'll be okay if they decide to hold on to him until the winter. We've seen a lot of times the trades in the winter when there's not such a deadline. A lot of times you can actually get a better package because you can spend longer negotiating. I don't think Milwaukee has to move him. I think if someone blows them away, they will. And right now, I think the only team that has the prospects to make a blow-away package is probably the Texas Rangers, and Milwaukee's really in a strong position here. They can move him if they get what they want. They don't have to if they don't.
Kyle, I saw somebody out on Twitter say that they're speculating the 2019 World Series will be played between the Braves and the Yankees. We've seen, Houston go through the massive gutting of everything and get to the playoffs. The Braves are going through that now, but I think they're on the precipice in the next few years of being good. With these prospects, are the Yankees in that mix, you think, where we can say a few years down the road, this is going to be one of the top teams in baseball?
They definitely have the position player prospects to do that. I think they need a little more on the starting pitching side before we can definitively say. I think it's funny, if you take some of the Braves starting pitching prospects and put them on the Yankees, and some of the Yankees position player prospects and put them on the Braves, it'd even it out a little bit more. But again, at the end of the day, we're still talking about prospects. There's injuries, there's risk, there's guys who don't pan out. I think it's always a little, people talk, they're going to be so good in 3-4 years. find the teams you thought would be good 3-4 years, from say in 2012. And if it's the same guys now, a lot of times it's not. So it's hard to predict. All you can do is get the right guys in place for the future and hope for the best. And I think the Yankees and Braves have completed that first part of getting the right guys in there. And the second part now is, hoping and praying everyone stays healthy and giving it a shot.
Kyle, before I let you go, you think there's still a little bit of a buzz in the air when the Yankees and the Mets get together? They start a little series tonight?
So I'm a West Coast guy. To be a little honest, I think there's a buzz in the New York area. But for a lot of the other parts of the country, it's kind of like, whatever. I mean, when the Dodgers and Giants get together, or I should say the Dodgers and Angels get together in the L.A. area, it's every bit as big of a buzz. So I think, yes, there's a buzz. Is it a buzz grander than all other interleague rivalries in baseball? No.
Kyle Glaser, always a pleasure. Thanks for a few minutes here on our A topic, which is the trading deadline. Great work with Baseball America. We'll talk to you down the road.
Thanks, guys.